Sure.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. We're going to start the press conference now. Remember, please hold your questions to the end. We'll be selecting you and then address who the question is going to be. And I would like to bring up the governor, Mr. DeSantis. Well, I want to welcome the FEMA administrator and thank Administrator Criswell for her attention to this tragedy and the support that FEMA's provided. FEMA's already personally registered a number of families for individual assistance, and obviously as this unfolds, there'll potentially be more who will qualify. So I want to thank them for their willingness to do that. Also want to thank all the folks that have been out there. If you look at that rubble now, you see folks on top, you see major machinery, and they're working round the clock like they have been from the wee hours of the morning. And so I want to thank all the search and rescue teams for their tireless efforts. They've stepped up to the plate and they have not stopped during this whole time. We'll be discussing with the county about whether we need additional personnel to backfill them. We have not yet at to this point. We did get a small team from Israel to come. A lot of the families who have unaccounted for loved ones wanted that. That was something that obviously we welcomed them, so they've been on site as well. And again, they're looking for if there's voids where they can potentially rescue somebody. That's kind of the name of the game. Obviously, you're going to start to see a lot of major debris that are going to be moved out of there. There's a site that's located. The debris that gets out does have forensic value, and so that's going to be parsed once it's taken. There's a big warehouse that's been identified. The state's assisting with some of the machinery and some of the dump trucks to be able to move that out as appropriate. Thanks to the community for stepping up. We have huge amounts of money that have been pledged or that have been donated. There's going to be folks that are displaced. There's folks that's lives have been shattered as a result of this, and so to see people coming together to support their fellow Floridians, and actually some are not even Floridians, but they're still part of the family down here. We really appreciate it, and we also appreciate the collaboration with the federal government, and then as well working with our great first responders locally. Florida DEM stands by to meet any unmet needs. We don't have any right now, but it should summarize. We'll be there for them, and we'll be there for the folks down here in Miami-Dade County. So it's a pleasure for me to be able to welcome the FEMA administrator. I appreciate her responsiveness and authorizing the individual assistance for those who've been affected. So, Administrator.
Thank you, Governor. On behalf of the President, our hearts go out to all of the families and the loved ones who've been affected by this really tragic incident. And we join countless others across the nation and really across the world who are keeping everybody in our thoughts as we continue to wait for additional information. I'd also like to recognize the amazing work that's been going on by the first responders, the urban search and rescue teams. They've been working tirelessly 24 hours a day since this happened. And it's a true testament to the amount of resources and the level of skill that's located right here in the community. And I think it's also really important to recognize how the community has really come together. The number of volunteers that have shown up, the number of nonprofit organizations, community members have really all come together to help this community in time of great need. And FEMA is here to assist with that. We are here to assist with any resources that might be needed as this response continues and we move into recovery efforts. We do have urban search and rescue teams that are available to come in and assist as the need is determined. We've also brought in the Army Corps of Engineers to provide some additional technical assistance. And we are committed to working with the incident commander, with the mayor and the governor and the state team to bring in any additional resources that might be needed throughout this event. We have also, as the governor mentioned, began registering families who need assistance, and we are going to be working with them directly, face to face, as they learn how to apply for assistance and navigate the federal system. And we are going to make sure that we give them the assistance that they need. Governor, Mayor, helping serve this community is our top priority. And I want you to know that we are here to support with whatever the federal government can bring to assist as long as we need to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Governor, and thank you, Administrator. And now the Miami-Dade County Mayor, Daniela Levine-Cava.
Good morning, everyone. Here we are, day 4. We have the governor, we have the FEMA administrator. We are so grateful for their presence and for the incredible teams that they've brought to bear here in this community. And as you know, we've been working around the clock. Since the wee hours of the morning, Thursday, we've been here 24 hours a day. Our teams have done an amazing job, and yesterday we suppressed the fire that had been going out of control and the smoke that was inhibiting activities in certain parts of the pile. So around noon yesterday, that was brought under control, making it possible for the search to continue in those areas as well. So throughout the rest of the day and through the night and till now, we are working. We have 6 to 8 squads that are on the pile, actively searching at any given time. Hundreds of team members are on standby to rotate as we need a fresh start. So we are not lacking any personnel, but we have the best. We have the right people and the right number, and we are getting it done. As we continue to sweep these piles with our canines, with our cameras, with our sonar, we are standing with our engineers as well, making sure that our first responders are safe. We need to be sure that the pile does not fall on them, that it does not fall on any possible survivors, and we are diligently pursuing that as we do our work. So we're cutting a deep trench to assist us. It's now 125 feet in length into the pile. It's 20 feet wide and 40 feet deep. Now this trench is very critical to the continuation of the search and rescue process. We've continued all night to build that trench, and as a result of that, we were able to recover 4 additional bodies in the rubble, as well as additional human remains. As of today, 1 victim passed away in the hospital, and we've recovered 8 more victims on site. So I am confirming today that the death toll is at 9. We've identified 4 of the victims and notified the next of kin. My deepest, the friends, the communities of those who've lost their lives, and my prayers with the families and the whole community as they mourn this tragic loss. We are making every effort to identify those others who have been recovered, and additionally contacting their family members as soon as we are able. So we're going to continue to work closely with our partners, the state and FEMA. We have all the resources that we need to do this work, and we have the assistance that these families need. We're meeting constantly with the family members, giving them the updates first so they don't hear it on the news, so that they can talk with us, ask questions, and mourn with us as they hear bad news and continue searching for survivors with us. They're receiving multiple briefings every single day. Volunteer Florida is coming. Thank you so much to the Florida Department of Emergency Management for deploying them, and they will assist us in coordinating the many, many donations, the outpouring of support from the community. These donations are incredible, and we do need help to coordinate that. So I want to continue to share how grateful we all are right here in Surfside in Miami-Dade County in Florida for the entire world reaching out, caring about what happens to us here. We feel your love, we hear your prayers. These mean so much to us and to the families as we continue our efforts. So God bless our families, God bless our first responders, and to all those that we've lost, thank you. Thank you. You're in our prayers. Nuestra búsqueda de rescate continúa 24 horas al día, como siempre. Nuestros equipos hicieron un trabajo increíble ayer y pudimos contener el fuego y el humo a partir del mediodía, lo que significa que la búsqueda continuó a toda máquina durante toda la noche y hoy. Entre 6 y 8 unidades están en los escombros buscando activamente alrededor del día. Tenemos cientos de miembros del equipo en espera para rotarlos. Seguimos recorriendo los escombros con perros, escuchando activamente con sonar y mirando con cámaras. Los ingenieros están supervisando constantemente el edificio para que siga en pie. Estamos haciendo una zanja profunda, 125 pies, entre los escombros, 20 pies de ancho y 40 pies de profundidad. En el proceso de búsqueda y rescate de anoche, recuperamos 4 cuerpos adicionales entre los escombros, así como restos humanos. Al día de hoy, una víctima falleció en el hospital y hemos recuperado a 8 víctimas más en el lugar. El número de muertes confirmados ahora es 9. Estamos haciendo todo lo posible desde el principio para identificar a las víctimas adicionales con el fin de notificar a los familiares. Seguimos trabajando muy de cerca con nuestros socios, incluyendo el Estado y FEMA. FEMA está en el lugar para movilizar recursos y asistencia para las familias afectadas, junto con un conjunto completo de servicios sociales disponibles para las familias en el hotel en turnos para que estén disponibles las 24 horas, con consejeros de duelo, rabinos y otros líderes religiosos. Las familias también reciben información varias veces al día antes del media. Volunteer Florida también vendrá para ayudar con la coordinación de los suministros donados, que hemos recibido muchos, y gracias a todos. Quiero seguir compartiendo lo agradecidos que estamos por todo el apoyo de todo el país y del mundo entero. Están con nosotros y nosotros lo sentimos. Gracias por sus donaciones, sus oraciones y su amor. Realmente sentimos su apoyo aquí en Miami-Dade, de todo el mundo. Dios bendiga a nuestras familias y a los que hemos perdido y a nuestros socorristas. Gracias.
Alcaldesa, perdón.
There's a question.
Questions are going to be at the end.
Al final, por favor. Gracias. Mayor Burkett.
Good afternoon. As the mayor of Dade County said, we really are only doing 2 things here. We're pulling residents out of the rubble, and we're supporting the families. That's our only objective right now. And to that end, we all were up at the family meeting this morning, and there was a little reassurance for the families, which was wonderful. It was nice to come out of there. The mayor has engineered teams to come from out of the country into our country, from Israel and from Mexico, and they have now been embedded with our teams, our world-class teams. I want to add that one of the questions from the residents was pretty poignant, and they wanted to know if the Israeli team thought that the Miami-Dade team had been doing the right thing. The gentleman, commander from the Israeli team, did not hesitate, turned around and said they've been doing exactly the right thing, which was a beautiful validation of the state-of-the-art sort of techniques and the integrity and the energy and the enthusiasm and the dedication that we have with our team members here. I want to add right now that there's been some discussion about the sister building, which is basically the identical building in almost every way to the one that collapsed, built by the same contractor around the same time with the same essential plans, and probably with the same materials. And given that I was not able to answer questions that were coming in from residents about the safety of that particular building, given this other one had collapsed out of the blue, I had reached out to Mayor Cava and Senator Rick Scott and asked them if they thought it was a good idea if we gave people the choice to potentially relocate and the support. After that, meeting with Governor DeSantis and his team, we determined that there was going to be support available. So we've gone ahead and advised the condominium association that should they feel uncomfortable staying in that building, given the circumstances, that we have alternatives for them. I'm not sure everybody's going to take advantage of that, but that is the state of affairs right now with respect to that. So anyway, that's the update. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. And now the Lieutenant Governor, Janet Núñez.
Voy a decir unas palabras en español, como escuchaste la alcaldesa indicar que tenemos ahora en este momento 9 fallecidos. Muy triste, muy lamentable, estamos aquí unidos con ellos en su dolor. El gobernador ha estado aquí, estamos asegurando a toda la comunidad que el Estado le ha dado todos los recursos, todo el apoyo que el condado necesita para seguir en lo que es la búsqueda y el rescate. Vamos a estar aquí presentes hasta el último momento, vamos a seguir proveyendo y colaborando, y eso es nuestro compromiso. El gobernador DeSantis ha estado aquí todos los días y vamos a seguir nuestro compromiso con la comunidad de Surfside, con el condado, y estamos muy agradecidos de que FEMA está aquí también con nosotros. Los 3 niveles del gobierno, local, estatal y federal, están juntos colaborando, no hay ninguna discrepancia, y vamos a seguir para el bien de esta comunidad, porque sabemos que todas las personas están impactadas de una manera o de otra, y queremos asegurarles que estamos aquí, vamos a seguir luchando, vamos a seguir trabajando y vamos a seguir hasta que podemos darle la paz a la familia, y vamos a seguir teniendo fe y esperanza. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. And now the Chairman of the Commission, Jose Pepe Diaz.
I'll try to make this real brief. I want to thank all those that have been involved in coming, but I want to start out thanking also the media. Your job has been incredible. The job that you're doing in getting the information out has helped so many, especially the people that are not here, that they have their families and they're foreigners. So I wanted to thank you and start with that. I want to thank the firefighters that do not stop. They do not, it's 24 hours on, non-stop. All the teams that are here, the first team that was here, our USAR team, and the new teams that have arrived from outside the country. I want to thank all of them. I also want to thank the administrator for showing up and helping us as she's done, and I appreciate that tremendously, as our governor and the whole team from the representatives and the senators from the state of Florida that have been here. Also, the mayor, a standing job with the other mayors of other cities and working together. We are working together as one team to solve this issue as fast as possible and try to get the information to the families, which are in a very difficult place. They want to know information, they need to know information, but it is a slow process, and it's a process that has to be done the way it's being done. And I know that's difficult, but that is the way it is. So once again, there's a lot of thank yous to be given, and as the administrator said from FEMA, the community has really stepped it up and done an incredible job in volunteering, making sure food is here for the first responders and the families and everything else that is needed. So for us, thank you as a government. And I'll tell you this part, my colleagues and I, once we understand what actually really took place, because this is a big talk that's going on right now, what took place. Once we understand, I am guaranteeing you, legislation will be taking place, so this will never happen again, ever, because nobody could have ever thought this would happen here, and that's what's going to happen. So, de parte de todos nosotros, quiero darle las gracias a toda la prensa que está aquí, que ha hecho un trabajo increíble sacando información y tratando de las personas que no están aquí, que están afuera, que tienen sus familiares aquí, se pueden enterar de toda la información posible al momento. Tengo que darle las gracias a la administradora de FEMA que llegó acá presente para ayudar con todo lo que tenemos. También nuestro gobernador que no ha fallado un día con los senadores y representantes estatales. También con nuestra alcaldesa, los alcaldes y las ciudades, que todo el mundo estamos trabajando juntos para estar seguros que esto se haga lo más antes posible. Esto tiene un procedimiento y ese procedimiento es bien lento. Y la familia está sufriendo muchísimo. Lo que ellos quieren saber qué es lo que le sucedió a su familiar. Pero eso es algo que lleva un proceso, vuelvo a explicar, que es bien lento, para respetar a todo el mundo que puede estar en estas circunstancias. Lo mejor de los mejores en el mundo entero están aquí trabajando y no han parado 24 horas seguidos. Y eso es importante, constante, trabajando. Le agradezco a todos esos hombres y mujeres que están trabajando constantemente. Aparte de eso, quiero decir claramente que mis colegas y yo, a la vez que sabemos bien lo que ha sucedido aquí, está claro de lo que ha sucedido, vamos a hacer todo lo posible de las legislaciones que tenemos que llevar a cabo para que esto no vuelva a suceder en nuestra comunidad. Y eso es una promesa. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Chairman. Now Miami-Dade Fire Chief Alan Kaminsky.
Good afternoon. First, I can't overemphasize enough the hard work these brave men and women and the efforts and tireless efforts that we're doing. 24 hours. It's nonstop. We have several teams, as the mayor mentioned, in regards to our strategies and how we're looking with the deployment of the resources that we have. It's just incredible. I couldn't be prouder as the fire chief of what we're doing. It's an extremely difficult situation. Again, what we've encountered, which I've been emphasizing, is just the most difficult. And our rescue teams are nonstop, doing all that we can, searching every area, every bit of hope, to see if we can find a live victim. As the mayor stated, went in detail in regards to our operations. We're rotating through. We've gridded out the debris field. We have more heavy equipment we brought in, so you see larger cranes in different aspects. This is an evolving process. So as we continue, our searches will be modified throughout, and we'll continue our process throughout the operation. Thank you.
Kevin, do you want to get the Florida DEM?
Yes,
Kevin Guthrie.
Good morning, Kevin Guthrie, Florida Division of Emergency Management Director. I just want to thank the Governor for his leadership and Mayor Cava for cooperation. I want to welcome the Administrator Criswell here with us. I think it's very important that everyone sees that we're in lockstep together, right? At the federal level, state level, local level, for the benefit of those individuals that are here involved in this disaster. As far as state resources, I just want to give a quick update. As Mayor Cava has already mentioned, Volunteer Florida will be coming in to assist with donations management today. We have the Department of Business Economic Development that is here on scene, and they're going to assist with businesses and residents with the economic injury side of what this has caused. Again, as you've heard everyone say, there are federal urban search and rescue teams. I have been in constant contact with FEMA, with the administrator. They are ready to send them when the chief has advised we need that assistance. So again, I want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. There have been offers, and we know that there are offers, and the chief will let us know when he needs those resources. With that being said, I appreciate your time.
Okay, we're gonna open it up for questions now. After the questions, I'm gonna bring the Creole translator, so please let's leave the mics here until she's done and the conference concludes. Okay, remember, when you're called upon, address the question who it's gonna be for. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, Judy Block, ABC News. I'm wondering if we know when the seismology report is coming in, and also, have we discovered any pockets? Are there any openings? Does anything happen during the overnight?
We've come across no natural voids that we've seen so far. as we're opening up, as was mentioned with the trenches and the other aspects, any void, any crevice that the teams see, that's where they're searched through. We continue our standard process as they've been trained, using all the resources that we have. Anything that shows in the positive potential, any little bit of potential, the crews are aggressively then in that area. Now, obviously aggressively, but it has to be a methodical process. So they're well trained. We're go all over the country, So we have all the Florida teams. Actually, the other three we'll look to bring in as well. So we'll have all the Florida teams here, and we'll continue this process the way we've been moving. So,
have you seen the seismology report, and how will that impact your rescue mission?
I haven't. We have several engineers that are constantly monitoring. So that part of it's critical. So we're constantly monitoring. Nothing's been brought forward. It's always a concern. We're always looking. The engineers will kind of guide our teams. We're looking process-wise, making sure, things are short, making sure they're using proper techniques and how we're doing things. So obviously, safety is a paramount for ours, but it's very difficult. We want to do all that we can. So obviously, we're moving as fast as we can, as hard as we can, to try the most positive outcome as possible.
We have a question right here.
For the Governor. My name's Jamie, I'm from the Telegraph. The local police here have had their holiday leave cancelled. They're working 12-hour shifts. You say you're in discussion about bringing in extra resources, but this weekend you sent dozens of Florida police down to Texas to help with the border. Is that the best use of resources?
So those would not be people that would deploy in this situation. Those were like highway patrol, fish and wildlife. So it has nothing to do with this. And so any type of connection you're making is just totally wrong and political. As soon as they have a request, when they come to Kevin or they come to me for help locally, we will work to fill that request. There has been no such request at this time, and part of the reason there hasn't been is because these guys are some of the best in the business. I'd hope that none of these things would ever happen anywhere, but if something like this happens, the people you would want are Miami-Dade Search and Rescue. These teams have gone all over the world. These are the people that you want, and they've been there within minutes, and it's been nonstop. And I've thanked them a number of times. I know the mayor's thanked them a number of times. We should all thank them because they've done a fantastic job. Should there be a need for more, we have mutual aid agreements with states. We've moved people around from the state with these task force as well. We'll absolutely meet that. But they are stepping up and meeting the challenge, and their needs have been met. And when it gets to the point where we may need to do, we will. But there has not been a request for that up to this point.
A question for Alan, if you don't mind, please again. Sorry, Mark Helmick from the Sky News UK here. I realise this is a highly emotive issue, both for your men and women in the field and also for the families. Are you able to say when this search and rescue effort becomes a search and recovery operation?
No, at this time I'm not. Hope, and that's what I'm focusing on. So I'm going to continue that as much as possible. That's the driving message. That's what we're looking for. So we're going to continue moving and searching as hard as we can and for as long as we can until we have to make that decision. So no, that hasn't come across at all. Again, it's very difficult. What we're encountering here is a very extreme, challenging situation. This type of collapse is difficult, and definitely federally, but that's what I want to emphasize. The teams we have here, we're part of the federal team. So I'm in the state assets, the federal assets. It's incredible support to be here. But our task force, we're part of those deployments and stuff as well. So we're here and we'll continue moving. So it's remarkable with the support that we have, and it's remarkable here in Miami-Dade County with our task force here and what we've been using, and then just within the state and the task force being here. So we'll continue moving through and doing what we're doing, and obviously trying the best that we can.
Chief, can you paint a picture
one second.
talk about these trenches and how you're able to do that safely, and how these trenches are working?
Well, again, this is where we use video. We're on hand. Obviously, tactics change throughout. And I don't want to get too technical in regards to what we're doing, but obviously we're searching at the beginning where we found void spaces that we felt most probability looking. That's where we obviously deployed right away and searching. Now you see a lot more activity on top with the equipment coming through and us moving larger debris. So as we see void spaces, that's where they come through, and it's a very, very slow process, because if there's anything we see, we need to make sure we're going through in a very slow, methodical process for the best attempt of a rescue.
So they're like beams you put out. Explain just so people can understand, families can understand, why it takes so long, the process of safely doing this for whoever's underneath.
Well, the critical component is because of the building collapse. So obviously the debris fields scattered throughout, and it's compacted, extremely compacted. So it's a very slow process where we have to stabilize the best we can as we're moving through the area, because again, if there is a void space, we want to make sure we're given every possibility for survival. And that's why we can't just go in and moving things, erratically, because that's going to have the worst outcome possible.
Question right here.
Will Robinson Smith, Spectrum News 13 Orlando. With the weather improving over the last day or so and the fire not being as much of an issue, has that allowed you to do certain things within the surf perimeter that may have been more difficult with those other factors built in?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've continued our strategy throughout. So it's as this evolves, we'll change our searches. Definitely the weather, helps with other aspect. Containing the fire definitely helps. So as we continue with this process, we'll doing what we can to get there.
Buenos días. Al jefe de la policía, no sé si puede hablar el jefe Ramírez o alguien que nos pueda explicar en español por qué ha sido lento el proceso de rescate y el proceso de identificación. Algunas familias dicen, digamos ahora acaban de anunciar 9 restos humanos. ¿Cómo va a ser el proceso de identificación?
Bueno, nuestros detectives de homicide, el crime scene, están en la escena con los bomberos. Cuando la víctima está recuperado, ellos le toman el sample de DNA, entonces lo transportan para el ME's office, entonces va por otro proceso. Cuando tenemos la identificación, los detectives van a hacer contacto con la familia privado para respetarlo. Es un proceso que es muy suave, muy delicado, pero están ahí con los bomberos trabajando en el elemento.
Jefe, ¿podría explicarnos un poquito en español lo que acabó de hablar del jefe de bomberos? La crítica de muchos o la queja de algunas familias es por qué da la impresión de que el proceso es lento, por qué ha sido tan lento tal vez la búsqueda de recuperación dentro del colapso de los escombros. Gracias, Erika.
No, de nada. Bueno, como lo hemos dicho antes, es un proceso el cual requiere bastante precisión. No es algo que podemos hacer rápidamente debido al hecho de que tenemos que tener mucho cuidado al mover estos escombros. El solo hecho de llegar a mover algo que pueda hacer un colapso adicional sería negligente. Entonces, por eso es que estamos siendo tan metódicos. Este es un proceso que es muy minucioso y tiene que tener muchísima precisión. Aunque aparentemente parezca que sea muy despacio, la verdad es que estos equipos no han dejado de trabajar en ningún momento. Ellos continúan trabajando de manera muy estratégica para asegurar de que si hay vidas y hay sobrevivientes bajo esos escombros, vamos a salvar esas vidas.
¿Cuántos están en este momento en total? Porque sé que hasta hace 2 días hay un equipo de 130. ¿Ha aumentado ese número de rescatistas?
Bueno, tenemos aproximadamente 300 rescatistas, pero tenemos también tienen que entender que cierta cantidad de estos rescatistas son los que están trabajando debido también a esta es otra estrategia que utilizamos, teniendo mucho cuidado con el peso que se utiliza sobre los escombros.
En español, Juan de Castañeda, Diario Las Américas. La Organización de Naciones Unidas en las zonas de desastre que están adaptadas a estos colapsos con terremotos dan hasta 7 días como promedio para encontrar vidas humanas. Estamos en el 4. ¿En qué situación nos encontramos ahora y en qué lugar está la esperanza dentro de todo lo delicado que puede ser la situación?
Bueno, el hecho que seguimos en una operación de búsqueda y rescate les puede dar el indicio que estamos todavía buscando vidas y es lo que queremos encontrar sobrevivientes. Obviamente vamos a ver pérdida de vida debido a la gran magnitud de este desastre. Pero tenemos cierta cantidad de tiempo, sabemos que estamos contra el tiempo y es por eso que estamos trabajando arduamente para revisar todos estos espacios donde pueden haber personas y pueden haber sobrevivientes.
I have one for the governor here, WLRM Public Radio and NPR. We've been assured at the county level that legislation will be coming in response to this. The state senator here, Jason Pizzo, has stated laws will be changing in Florida. I was just wondering if you could speak directly.
Good. I mean, I think we want to obviously get a definitive explanation of what happened and to see what the proper response would be either from a local or state level or even both. I will say, now this building was built in the early 80s. South Florida has some of the most stringent building codes in the country. And so I have a lot of confidence that what's being built in the here and now are being done very, very well, and that would be resistant not only to a thing like this, but storms, which we obviously are very prone to. So it's something that the state's taken very seriously, but particularly South Florida has taken very seriously. I do think, of course, rescuing folks, and then whatever needs to be recovered after that, and then getting people assistance to make sure folks are end up on their feet with that mission. Those are the core ones. But then that next most important thing is, why did this happen? And there's folks from the feds here. We have state engineers. They have local folks. So this is going to be very important. But I do think it's important that we get a definitive explanation and then be able to go. But clearly, if there's anything that could be done to prevent something like this, we've got to do everything we can to do that.
All right. I just wanted to know from the mayor, you said that there was somebody who was taken to the hospital. Is that correct? And was there anybody who was still alive or conscious? And are families going to the scene, or do authorities have plans to take the families to the scene at some point?
Yes. So the hospital was one of the first victims who did pass away and has been reported. We are working with the families, and there will be an opportunity for visitation. It will be a very private event.
And final question right here.
Chief Kaminsky, is there any concern that the fire could reignite? How will you address that, and also how do you address combustibles that are in there?
Yes, we definitely monitor the air the best we can. We protect our first responders with air respiratory protections. We have lines with the fire itself. As I mentioned yesterday, it was a deeply rooted fire, deeply seated fire. Very difficult to get there. So I would never say it's been 100% extinguished because of the location. We definitely feel contained, and we continue to monitor. And it hasn't impeded our search and rescue efforts for over a 24-hour period.
Una pregunta, perdón, ¿me podrían verificar el número de personas que continúan desaparecidas? Porque no quiero informar nada equivocado. Sé que aumentó la cifra de personas fallecidas y el número de personas desaparecidas continúa sigue cifra.
No, la alcaldesa ya dio esa cifra.
No, digo de nuevo 156.
No.
Pero si hay más fallecidos, ¿cómo va a ser la cifra igual?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that answer. I'll get to the answer. And now for
I guess now we're at 9. I think.
yeah, I'll get you guys that answer right now. And for Creole translation, Cassandra Arnold.
Bonjour, nom c'est Cassandra Arnold, directrice affaires haïtiennes. Magistrat veut dire tout le monde merci pour prier nous. Je dis à nous gagner 9 la mort confirmée. Nous joignons 8 victimes sur site là. Nous travaillons ensemble avec FIMA, avec l'autre bureau de l'État. Pour chaque famille qui est dans l'hôtel là, nous avons un service conseil avec pasteur pour parler avec. Moment c'est vraiment difficile pour nous toutes, mais nous voulons dire merci encore pour toute sa communauté à faire. Merci.
Thank you, everyone. We'll keep you posted. Make sure you go to the Twitter for the next announcement for the next